Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first official video of 2025. I'm currently filming this on New Year's Day. It will go up until the 3rd, but it's still, So today's video is going to be, I'm going to be showing you I'm going to be reviewing basically every physical book I read in 2024. I was looking because originally I was going to do every book I read in 2024, and then I went to go put like all of the books I read with physical and Kindle on it, and I think I messed it up because I read 111 books this year, and I went to go put, and by the time I was like 100, I was like, I don't know. I think I messed that up when I was doing that. I don't know what I was doing when I was doing that. I did that yesterday. And I decided I'm gonna do physical because physical was easier, so I could actually like see them. So we had a total of 61 physical books this year. So I do say I am counting the books that if I did not read physically, but I do have a physical copy of, or I did not read physically while I read them. I listened to like the books that I did not listen to the audiobook of. No. I listened, I read like on Kindle or on audio. I just had a physical copy, or I just got the physical copy of the book. I know that was a really, really bad explanation. But yeah. I was just thinking, because my Goodreads goal for 2025 is 95, which I think that's definitely doable for reading almost 111 this year, which I will tell you, I don't know what they did to Goodreads, but like, I was looking because what I do for every video basically that has like every wrap up, like every sit down video, I put everything on my iPad so I can basically just look at it. Well, I thought I went to a couple of weeks ago, I think I went to go say that I was finished reading a book that I read on my Kindle. I went to go check my 2024 reading goal. And it did it like it says, I don't know, it's like what kind of reminds me of what Kindle usually looks like. I don't know. And I was just like, what on earth? Like, and then I went to go put my Goodreads goal in there today, because that's the first thing I did. That's one of the first things I did this morning after I woke up, was put my Goodreads goal into Goodreads, and it looks the same. It says my reading goal. It says how much percent 0% correctly, since it's the first day of January. And it says 0 out of 95. And I don't like the screen because you can't look at them unless you I don't know. I need to figure it out. But I'm real mad they changed it. I guess Goodreads decided to update. And I'm just like, great, of course they update the date. Like right before so I'm mad. I'm not mad, but like I'm upset because I was like, and then I don't know. So now, basically, I have to go to like a different section to look at the books that I read this year. Or I'm going to look at the read section of Goodreads, where I've read basically all the books I've read on the earth of Goodreads, which I think I've read 200 books on there, it says, which I think that's pretty good. I don't know. I really hope I can. I don't know. So, yeah. I don't know. It was like, but I was just like, what why is it this way? Like, I like the way where you can see, and I liked, like it said, like it has where how many books you have, how many books you've read out of your reading goal, and it has like a percent bar of how much percent you've read. I like that. And it had all the books that you read that year. I don't like it this way already. I haven't even put a book in there yet. It kind of just disappeared. Like, I put the last book I read of 2024 on there, and I didn't even see it on 2024. I don't know. So, yeah. So, I keep saying so, I think. But, yeah. So, let's just get right into it. I don't know. I will tell you, I think this might be my best year. Yes, it is. It is my best year, 2020. It is my best year. Which I think I was at like, I would say I would probably like at like 90. I would say I would be like at like 90. Before December, I was at 111. So 11. I would probably be at like 90, 92 or 93 before December. I think, if I do my math right. I don't even know. I would think so. Why am I even doing math? Yeah, that's what sounds right to me. Yeah. So let's just get on to it. So I basically put the books that I read physically all in a stack of like each month. So like January through December has a stack, and I'm just gonna go through each of them, tell them on about what I gave them, and then yeah. I'd like to have this video done in a timely manner, but we'll see. To go through 60 books, I don't know how timely we'll go through this. Because the first one's like, the first is 7, and the last one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll see how we go. I don't know. Really hoping to. Okay, let's just get on to it. So, my first read of 2024 and my first physical book of the year was Keeping 13. I feel like I just, because I got the first one in, I don't know why, I think because not many people were like this was not that popular when I read it. Like, the only person I think I saw that read it that really enjoyed it that I would watch was Destiny Sybil. She loves this series to tears. And I was like, okay, I don't know why. So I asked for the first book, and I read that, and I was looking at Goodreads earlier, and I guess I took like the month of December off because I finished my last book logged of 2023 was Binding 13, and then my first one was logged of 2024 was Keeping 13. So I guess I decided, I said, I just want a break. I'm like, okay. I will say, if you ever read this, please be prepared. Be prepared, because these books, like this whole series broke me. And I will say, sometimes it takes you a minute to get used, because these books take place in Ireland. So, I would recommend looking at, there's like a glossary that you can look at. And please read True Romance. Well, I will say this is about, well, the first 2 books in this series, which is Binding and Keeping 13, is about Johnny and Shannon. Johnny is the star rugby player, and Shannon's the shy. Like, she moves to Tolman School. Well, they call it Tolman College, but I think it's Tolman High School. Let's see. So, like, junior infants is, it's weird. It's a little bit, so it's a little weird, but ew. I just read 7 Growth, and I'm like, golly. So, yeah, and I will say, if you do not like slow burns, please do not read this book. Please do not read these books. Because, like, I'm restarting Binding. Let's see. Let's actually see if I can find Binding 13. So okay, actually, because I have the old covers in. Oh, here it is. So here's Binding 13. So here's the first book. I read this in 2020, at the end of 2024, obviously. I think I might reread this when I get done with this. I don't know. We'll see. There's like 2 tabs in here because I tried to start annotating this one and then never continued. Like, I stopped doing it. I don't know why. I've done this with I did it with Amelia Parks too. I started and I got 200 pages through it. Let me actually get it. I got 200 pages for Amelia Parks and just stopped for some reason. Don't know why. I just didn't. Just did. Just decided. Nope. So here's Amelia Parks. I got to page 248. So here's Amelia Parks, halfway done. And then here's Binding 13. I put literally 2 tabs in there, and then that's it. And then I think I might reread these when I get finished with doing this video. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. So, yeah. I've basically... I feel like I've talked about this book, but I don't talk about it often just because I know these books are sad. I would go in, if you do not like heartbreak and you do not like sad books, please do not read the series at all. Because about every one of them, all of them are sad, and they have sad elements to them. These are the 2 saddest books I think I've ever read. The other ones, Saving is pretty sad, but Redeeming is really sad, and Taming, they're all sad as a collective. So I would recommend not reading these if you have, if you get really emotional really easily, which I don't cry so often in books usually, but yeah. So I would recommend this if you like emotional and you like sad. Because the ending of this is sad, and then if you ever decide to read this book, please do have Keeping 13 on hand, because I know I started it and then didn't have this in my hand. I had it by the time when I started this book thinking, okay, it's good. I'm not gonna need the second book. Well, I get like towards the end, and I'm like, I want the second book, so I asked for the second book, and so yeah. So the next book is, so the second book I read. I don't know if it was the second year I read this year, but I know I read it like. Let's see. No, I didn't. This will be my fourth book I read this year, but the second book in this video, and that is Daisy Hates by Justa Hastings. This is book 2 in the Amelia Parks universe. I read so this was what was popular. This was not like overbearing popular. People liked it. No, some people liked it, some people didn't. Like I watched like Destiny Stillwell. No, I watched Haley Fan read it, and she didn't like it. Well, I think she gave it like 2 stars. And then I watched my 2 favorite YouTubers, Sarah Crowley and Rachel Catherine. They read this and loved it. Like, this is actually Sarah's when she did her trying to find the zoo does not end until I find a 5-star read, and this is the book. This is the book that was 5 stars for that video. And I was like, okay, so I asked for it for my birthday. Like, I asked for this one, and I asked for the first book in the Binding Keeping 13 series, and then I think I asked for the box set of. I asked for the naturals, which I ended up buying and then ended up getting. So I asked for this one, and then I asked for this one. Well, I got both of these for my birthday. Oh god. So I was like, okay. So I ended up asking for at the time this one, the third one, and the fourth one were out. So okay, I'm gonna ask. So I'm gonna start this one. I don't love the first part of this book, not at all. I'm hoping to reread this year and actually like try and enjoy it. I think I'm gonna enjoy it this time. I don't know what was gonna happen when I read this the first time, and then I got a good way in, and it got better, and then the ending made it. So on Goodreads it says 5 stars. This would probably been like a 4.5 if I had to be critical. So this is about Daisy, Julian, and Christian. So I'm weird. I like the Amelia Parks and the BJ books better than this. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth because if you look at Goodreads, I gave the third one, which I think it's actually in the stack. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and the ending made it worth it. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I would recommend. This series is good because this series is always hit or miss for people because if you do not like toxic people or toxic relationships, please do not read this series. Please don't read this series. Because this one's about Daisy, Julian, and Christian, like I said, and then the Amelia Park books are about Amelia Parks and B.J. Ballantyne. They are definition of a toxic relationship. So if you do not like toxic relationships, please do not read this book. Do not read this book. Please don't. Because so the next book I read, the third book I read, physical this year. So what I did when I first when I first started watching Book Talk and I first decided I wanted to read whatever, I started like 4 or 5 series. Like I started series. Like I started one Asher's whatever. What's the F1 like Dirty Air. I started the Dirty Air series. I started Sophie Lark's Bird Life series, and then I read one book from because I read Twisted series of 2023. I think so. Yeah, 2023. And I was like, okay, well, which I didn't ask for the other books in the Kings of Sins, so hopefully to read that this year. I was like, okay, I'll give it. And then I decided I'm going to start ACOTAR. Well, I read the first 3, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings and Ruin. And then I decided I stopped for, I don't know, I don't know when I started the ACOTAR series, but I think I either started in 2023 or 2022. And I guess in January 2024, me decided, I'm going to continue this series. So, at the time, I didn't have the physical copy of it. I asked for it for Christmas so I can actually hold a physical copy of it. So, I listened to the audiobook of this. I don't remember what happens in this book. Not at all. Don't know what was going on when I decided to read this book. So I ended up finishing this series because I do. So I will talk about the fifth one. The fifth one. I will talk about the fifth one later in this video. And I don't know. I listened to the audiobook this because I found this. I got on audio on YouTube. I was like, okay, I'll read it. No, I listened to it. I don't think I even finished. Like, I think in January of this year, last year, I would start books and then not finish them, and then say I would finish them on Goodreads. Don't know what I was doing then. Zero clue. I have no idea. So, yeah. So the next book, physical book I read this year. So I don't live close to Barnes & Noble. My bookstore choice is Books A Million. That's where I've always gone. I used to have 2 in my area, now I only have 1. So I go sometimes pretty often. Sometimes I don't go for months. Well, I at least go once or twice a month. 3 months, whatever. So I think exactly a year today, or a couple days from a year, because we had a New Year's party last year. We were going to, but they had practice for something, so we're having, it's not really a party, it's just a hangout, so we're having that Friday of this week. Don't know why I said that, but so after I think it was New Year's Day, my mom had to go to the Apple store to go get her phone fixed. Her phone wasn't working, whatever. And she wanted to take me with her because she wanted to take me along and, So I went to Barnes and Noble for the first time that day. I went to two actually. I went to two, and the book I'm about to show you, I bought in the Barnes and Noble, and I have never read about this author because I was so freaking nervous how I was going to how I was going. I never read by this author because she had one popular book that was like had very mixed reviews, which I ended up reading later this year, like in December. But I was like, okay, so that is The American Roommate Experiment, Elena Armas. When I read you can tell this is when I was trying to get into my annotation game. Like when I first started annotating, you can't really see it, but I don't like the way this looks anymore. But it was good for me then. So I was like, okay, but I don't know. I just started. Where the day this is about. So I guess she has like a. I don't think you have to read these books in any particular order, but I think they kind of like this one. Maybe even the long game. I know the long game. No, I think it might be The American Roommate Experiment, The Spanish Love Deception, and I think maybe the long game. I have zero clue. I don't know. This is about Rosie and is his name Ethan? Lucas. And she goes lives in this apartment, and then when I read the premise of this, I was like, oh my gosh, this sounded so interesting to me. I was like, okay, this has to be good. This has to be good. And then I read it, and I ended up giving this, I think, because this is when I still have it like 3 stars to me. Sometimes 3 stars are weird to me. Like some 3 stars, they were the best. Like I still enjoyed this, but they were not 4 to 5 star material. I used to be that person that would give 5 stars out like candy. So, yeah. So the next physical book I read this year, is the first book to a series I've already talked about. So, yeah. So that book is Miller Park's A Long Way Home. This is book 3 in the Miller Parks universe. This book, I don't know. I remember starting this book, going with somewhat expectations. I don't know, because you kind of get like, because the ending because it basically picks off from the end of this one. So the ending of this one basically is like, it's like a year later from the events of the end of this to this. And I don't know. This was like, I think I ended up giving this 4, but I don't know how I felt about that. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the greatest. So the next book I read, this physical, which I've already talked about. I can't speak. So the next book I read physically this year was another book to another series that I was trying to finish this year. So, I started listening to audiobook this one because I heard this was everyone's like least favorite out of the whole series, which we know that there's another one coming, we just don't know when yet. So that is Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is I feel like everyone's least favorite in the ACOTAR series. Like, it's good. Like, the first 3 books, it's good, and then it's like not the best. In this book, which I think what happened was since I listened to the audiobook of this, and I didn't realize that it was split in half. Like, the audiobook was like 10 hours, and then the other one was like 11 hours, or I don't even know what it was. But I remember trying this, and I remember when I found out that I have to listen to another part of this book, and I said, nope. So, this book basically was unfinished, but I still counted it as a finished book. Don't know what was going on with me in January of this year. So, yeah. So, water break. So the last physical book I read in January. So we have these book fairs at the middle school. Well, not in high school, but when I went to middle school, we would have like book fairs like twice a month. Like, not twice a month, twice a year. Like, we would have one like sometimes around like January. Well, it just matters. Like, we had always had two. Like, usually around one time. I'm doing a horrible thing of explaining this, but so I bought this. If you look at my shelves that you can't see, that basically has all of the books that I used to, like, I would buy from there, or like books my not my age, yes, my age, basically. Like, I have like all of like, I don't know, like my middle school age books that I would buy. I would just buy random books, and this was one of them. And I don't know why. Like, I think I've tried to read this book twice, and I think on Goodreads it says 2 stars. I don't think I even finished it. I don't think I even got through. Like, I can't even get through. So that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I don't know what I was doing when I read this. That's zero clue. I don't know. So that is all the books that I read physically in January. So now let's get into February. So the first book I read physically in February, I don't know why I got very influenced in February. Not influenced, but like, I watched like one video of, like, I think this video's been up for like, I think went up in like 2023. So I don't know why it influenced me then. I guess I was in the cinema book buying mood or something, which I asked my stepmom to buy it for me, so I didn't buy it. But like, I was telling everyone because I felt like everyone and their mom loves this book. Like, and for her to be a young, like, I think I started following her right before I bought the book, or right after, because she does so many teasers of the next book that she writes. So like, she did teasers of the same book. And I remember reading this, and this was becoming one of my favorite 2024 fantasies of the year. So that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I think everyone has heard about this book. I love this book to pieces, and this is just basically basically has everything what a usual fantasy book has. It follows the recipe of every fantasy book does. But I don't know what she did, but something clicked when she decided to write this book. Because she wrote this book, I think, when she was 18. And then I read the second book, which I didn't read that until November. So, yeah. So this is about Kai, it's about Kai, who is, so, like, basically, it's just this basic world where some people have power, some people don't. And if you do have powers, you're called an elite, and you have to go through these trials, and then you meet Pi, who's ordinary, who's acting like a elite. And there is so much banter between these characters. And if you like, this is what I think of when I think of, like, romantasy, which I've read a lot of fantasy this year. I will say that. And this is top notch. Like, this is top notch. I don't, like, when I don't know what we're gonna do when Fearless comes out, because I've already planned when I'm reading that book, because I'm filming a video with it in it. So I know when the next book will be read. And I was just like, so, yeah. Please, if you take anything from this video, please read if you like toxicity and toxic people and toxic stuff, please read the Emilia Parks universe. If you like fantasy, please read this. And then, please, if you like sadness and everything, please read Binding Cutie 13. So, the next book I read, physical book I read this year. So this book became popular, I would say, towards, like, the end of February, the end of 2023, or something like that. Like, towards, like, towards the middle end of 2023. And like I said, this is one of the books I bought when I went to Barnes & Noble for the first time, because I never saw this book in my bookstore. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy it. And then I read it. And I don't think I even finished it. And I think I was so crazy out of my mind, because, like, I figured, like, a couple months later or something, I read the second book. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why. Like, I heard, like, Sarah Caroli loves this book, and then Rachel Catherine loves this book, and then Haley Pham gave it, like, 4.5. So that is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is, like, book 1, and I think the letters have enforcement series. I don't know. Because this is the first book, and then I listened to the audiobook of Ruthless Vows, like, a couple months after reading this one, or pretty close after this one, and I don't know. I just couldn't get into this one. I don't know what was going on when I decided to pick this up. I don't know if I was not in the right mood. I don't know what was going on there. It wasn't great. It wasn't fun. So, yeah. So, the next book I read physically, I listened to the audiobook of her other book that was pretty popular. Got pretty popular in my book talk. And then, like I said, this is one of the other books I bought at Barnes & Noble. Because, I don't know, it's, like I said, it sounded interesting to me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. So that is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I actually really enjoyed this one. This is about Elsie, who she's a adjustment. Like, she has one job, and then she's a fake, basically a professional fake girlfriend. And then you basically so this is about Elsie and Jack, and wait, I think it's Jack. I think it is. And she's basically a scientist, and then she's a fake girlfriend. So this is actually pretty good. I think I gave this like 4.75 or 4.5. I think the first one I read it. I don't even know. Like, just putting some of these books like on my list, I was like, oh my gosh, I read that. Wow. So the last book I read in February of 2024, physical book at least. I've already talked about two books in the series. I'm just gonna quickly get this one over with. So this is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. Oh god. Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. Like I said, this is about Daisy Hates and Julian and Christian. This is good. I think on Goodreads, because of the ending, I gave it 5 stars. I don't know what I was doing. So, yeah. It was good. It was great. I don't know how I would feel about this series when I would reread it, because I'm hoping to reread it later this year, or possibly soon. I don't know. We'll see how 2025 goes. But, so, yeah, now we're getting to March. So, the first book I read this month, this author is so popular. So popular. Like, she is so popular because of one book. Well, not because of one book, but she is now popular because of the book, and now everyone loves her. And this is like one of the only books I think I can possibly read about her, because I've listened to the synopsis of the one that's popular, and I'm just like, is that actually interesting to me, or I don't know. And I remember I was going shopping with my dad and my stepmom at like Sam's Club or something, and they had like a whole shelf of her. And this is the only one that that kind of sounded interesting to me. I don't know. So that was Co-Worker by Freddie McFadden. I said from the why can't I speak? From the best-selling author of The Housemaid. She is pretty popular because of that. And I think this is actually pretty good. I think I ended up giving this like 4 or something. I think 4.25 at 4. I don't know, because this is about, I think, it says non-drift is strange. At least everyone thinks so. At Vixen, I think that's how you say it. The additional supplement company where Dawn works as an accountant. She never says the right thing. She has no friends, and she's always at her desk precisely at 8:45 a.m. So when Dawn showed up to the office one morning, her co-worker, Natalie Farrell, beautiful popular sales rep, 5 years in the running, is surprised. Then she receives an unsettling anonymous phone call that changes everything. Turns out Dawn wasn't just an awkward outsider. She was being targeted by someone close. Now Natalie is vaguely tied to Dawn, as she finds herself caught in a twisted game of cat and mouse that leaves her wondering, who's the real victim? It turns out no. But one thing is incredibly clear. Somebody hates Dawn Treffley enough to kill. The Coworker is a tense, suspenseful thriller from the New York Times bestseller author Freddie McFadden that explores the dark ways the past can echo through the present with deadly consequences. So yeah, I think I actually really enjoyed, I enjoyed this somewhat. So the next book is, the next book is a highly, highly anticipated release for a lot of people. It was, because I guess it came out, well, I think it took me a minute to actually read it, because I listened to the audiobook of it, but I got the physical copy for Christmas. And I was like, okay. So, because I read the first one in 2023, and I was like, I actually really enjoyed it. I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. So that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Like I said, this is book 2 in the Empyrean series. Like, the first one, Full Flame, was very insanely popular in 2023, and then now Iron Flame is now popular, and then 2025 will be certainly a big year because Odyssey Storm, which is the third book, comes out next month. No, this month. Comes out on the 31st. So, really excited, a little bit nervous because I'm nervous. I know right after I let's take it out.
Yeah, I went to go earlier, and I thought I heard somebody on the door, and I was like,
But yeah, so hopefully it basically
I think I saw it right through, and I heard the door slam. Well, probably not even white.
So yeah. So the next book is I don't know. This is actually, I will say, my least favorite book out of the whole series. Because, I don't know, I read this, I think, in 2020. Wait, did I read? Because this was in March, so this is right before I started. I started my YouTube channel in April. I think I created my channel in February of this year. Not of last year, but I did not post my actual first video until April. So yeah. So this book was disappointing for me, but this other two did make up for it. So that is Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This is the third book in the Books of Tillman series, like I've already talked about Keeping and Binding 13. Because there's Binding, Keeping 13, and then there's Saving and Redeeming 6, and then Taming 7. And then I think we may be getting more books. I don't know. I'm thinking we are. But, I don't know. So I don't know. This book was okay. I think I gave it 4 when I read it because I read it. Yeah, I read it in was it March? I think so. And I was like, okay. So it wasn't the best, wasn't the greatest. It was okay for me. So the next one I've already talked about the other books in this series because this is actually a new release that came out. I got it the day after it came out, which was Valentine's Day. I mean, I think I either started right after then or right before or later that month because I didn't finish it until March. So I was like, okay, it's. So I was like, I'll just, because it's the last book in this couple's point of view. So that is in Amelia Park's Into the Dark by Jessica Hastings. This is book 5 in the Amelia Parks universe. This is the last book in Amelia Parks and BJ's Valentine's point of view. And now sad it's over because I think we get 2 more books in this universe that's in Daisy, Julian, and Christian's point of view, which I'm excited for those. I'm just like, it was sad because I don't really I liked BJ and Manolia better, but it's fine. It's great. It's okay. It's fine. So, yeah, really excited. So, yeah. So the next book I read, actually the last book I read in I guess this is March. I think it's March. So like I said, I finished Avatar in January, and it felt like the end of 2023. It felt like everyone was reading the series, and so I bought the first book, and then I bought the other 2, and then I bought the rest of the series. So I'm currently reading the last book in this series. So, in this series, I feel like everyone loved, but I love the first 4 books. Well, no, first 3 books. It was kind of. So that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is, like I said, the first book in the Throne of Glass series. There's multiple ways to read this series. So, like, you can go when you read Assassin's Blade first, and then you can read Assassin's Blade 3rd, or you can read Assassin's Blade 4th, which I ended up doing. I don't know why I read it 4th, just because I watched Haley Fan read this series, and she read that 4th. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give her a shot, because she loves Assassin's Blade, but I think she ended up giving it like 5 stars, and I think I ended up giving Assassin's Blade like 4. So, yeah, it was good. So I only read 2 physical books in April, April of 2024, because I don't know what. I think that's where I started my reading. I think that's where I started my YouTube channel. Wow. So the first book. So I put this series on my wish list, thinking I'll read it if I get it for Christmas, or if I get it for my birthday or Christmas. Well, I ended up getting it for Christmas. So I was like, okay. So I ended up listening to the audiobook of this one, but I still had a physical copy. And I actually really enjoyed this one. I think I ended up giving it 4. It was pretty good. To be a fantasy, which, I don't know. So that is The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. This is book 1 in the, I guess, Hunger Games Hunger Games trilogy. I ended up listening to the audiobook of this one. It was actually pretty good. I don't know. So, yeah. And I forgot to say, I do have the flu currently. So, if I do have, like, one of those, like, I don't know, with coughs, or if I have coughing fit, or if I have snot in my nose, or I blow my nose or something, please excuse that. So, the last physical book I read in April, which I ended up, I think, reading only like 3 books in April, which, because I think I read like 3, either 2 physical books and then 1 I listened to an audio, which was one I found on a random, April was when I originally first got Audible, and that was the Audible original, and I just picked that one as my first listen. So, yeah. So, next book, the last book I read in April, physically, was second book to a series I just already talked about. So that is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Like I said, I ended up giving the first 3 books of the series 3 stars, and then around Queen of Shadows, that's where it gets really good. So this is about this was good. And then the first book I guess I read in May of 2024 was Ring of Fire. This is the only one out of the whole series I don't have because when I went to the bookstore, I went to the books because I originally bought the first. So the first one I asked my stepmom to order me on Amazon for, and then I went to the bookstore and I bought. I think I bought Assassin's Blade, I bought Crown of Midnight and Assassin's Blade, I think, and then I went to the bookstore like later that day or later that week or something, and I bought the rest of the series, and they did not have this one. Like, they had basically almost all of them in hardback, but not. This is the only one they did not have in paperback. So I said, okay, I'm still gonna read it even when it's not in hard paperback. And then next one. So I read her other series that came. I think her last book before this one came out in February of 2023. So I read that one I think later in February of 2023 or something. Because I remember when she announced this one, and I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. So that one is, which I think I tried to read this book, I think, twice or 3 times. So that is Lovely Design by, well, actually, this is book 1 in the Lakefront Billionaire series. I think this is one of my least favorite One Asher books I've ever read. I think my favorite is either 11 Written, or I think my favorite is Terms and Conditions. And then it's The Final Offer, and then I I don't know. I think this might be my least favorite. I think it's Terms and Conditions, and then Final Offer, and then I don't know what I was gonna say. So yeah, this was pretty good. I don't know. I enjoyed Delilah, but I don't know how I felt about this one. So next book I read the next book I read this year was Why Can I Not Speak? The next book I read in April that was physical was, I've already talked about this series already, which was, this is actually the books that got good, actually, like, it was starting to get good. This is my first 4-star read of the series. So that is The Assassin's Blade by Sarah Maas. Like I said, I read this fourth. This was okay. This was like not my, no. This is actually one of my favorites of the series. I think my favorite right now is Queen of Shadows. But yeah, so yeah. So the last book, I think this has to be May, because I know this sack. I know I finished Queen of Shadows in June. So yeah. So the next book is basically I would say it's a spin-off of the other series. I don't know, because I know the first book is the first book, which I'm about to show you. The first book from the other series is, let me just show you. So the last book I read physically in May was The Grimm Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is book 1 in the Campus Diaries series. So this is about Gigi and Ryder. So this is Garrett Graham and Hannah Wells' daughter, which I thought, since this was about Gigi, I thought we were going to get a book for every kid, but no, which I will say, the second book was really good, which I read that in September. Is that September? Yeah, September. So, yeah, this is actually, I don't know, this is like one of the only reviews I did on Goodreads for 2024. Well, I started this originally I originally read this. What am I saying? Because I got this for Christmas, and of course, when she announced the cover, I put it on my Amazon wish list, just because I knew I wanted to read it eventually, which I ended up getting it for Christmas. So I was like, okay. So I tried to read it, and I think what happened was, like, I got like 200 pages through it. I think what happened was I ran out of the tabs I was using. So I was like, I don't know what I was doing, so I DNF'd it halfway through or something. So I was like, okay, and then so yeah. So now we can go into June, which the first book I read in June I actually like. It's actually a part of the series I've talked about already, so you'll probably already know it. Which I actually think I read this in my either I read it right before I filmed that or right at. I know I filmed this right after or right before I filmed my Reading Only Romance for 24 hours, which I don't know. I might have read this during that. Can't remember. That is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is it was book 5 when I read it. So yeah, this is actually when it actually started getting good because I got this. Well, I said that for Assassin's Blade. That was book. So yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. So this is actually pretty good. Pretty good. So the next book is actually the first book I've ever read by her, which the next 3 books, I know 3 of these were in my Reading Only Romance for 24 hours video. And one is the first book I ever read by her, which I've read basically every book she has wrote. I think I've read one of them. Well, I've read this one because it just came out a couple months before this. Because I think this book came out in April. And then her books are basically like almost all of her books are on like YouTube. Like people have made audiobooks for her series. Not series. I think her books are a series. Well, you don't have to read them like in a specific order if you don't want to. So, the next book I read, the second book I read in June was Just for Summer by Abby Jimenez. I actually read this and really, really enjoyed it. To me, I actually really enjoyed this. I'm looking at my annotations. So, yeah, I actually really, really love this book. To be the first book I've ever read by her, was actually really good. I don't know what I'm saying. So, yeah. So next book. So I guess I never read. Well, actually, I think I might have read one more book by this author in 2024 because I know I have a physical copy of it, but I don't think I ever put it on Goodreads. Don't know why. Never put it on Goodreads for the don't know why. Just did it. So that was Fry by Christian Becker Ritchie, but so I read Ditches After All in June, and then I read Build a Fire by them too in my Reading Only Romance for 24 hours, which I feel like I enjoy Lillian Lowe better than Rose and Connor and Reich and Daisy. Yeah. So I'm giving these both free. I think. I don't know. These were pretty good, I would say. I don't know. If you want to see my reading experience, please go watch my my Reading Only Romance for 24 hour video. Because I think I talked more about that in that video. So I actually did actually read, I guess when I was putting this stack together, I don't know, because I remember reading, I remember because I read this book, which is The Rule Book by Sarah Adams, in another video. So I guess I don't know what it is, because if you look at Goodreads, I read this one, logged this one, I finished this one, and then read this one and logged this one, and then I started and finished this one. So don't really know what was going on there. So, and these are the only two I've annotated, because I said I was going to not annotate this one, annotate these, but I guess I decided I did. So, those were all the physical books I read physically in 2024. So, yeah. So the first book I read in July, I was actually on vacation the first week of this. Basically, I left July 2nd and then wasn't back until July 8th. Well, I came back July 8th. So, I was in the middle of, I think, 2 of these I was in the middle of, and then I finished, I think, on the trip or after the trip. I don't even know. So the first one is, I actually was so nervous to read because this is one of my favorite authors. I read her other series, which is Chestnut Springs, last in 2023, I think, when it got popular. Was very popular. So when she announced this one, because this is about in the same world as Chestnut Springs, and I was like, okay. So that was Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I did read Wild Eyes later of 2024, and actually gave it 4.5. I just don't know what was going on when I tried to read this. I don't know if I don't know if it's because I didn't like them. Like, I really enjoyed the characters, and I really enjoyed them. But I don't know what was going on when I read this. And look, this is actually signed. Like, if you go, the first page of this book, it says, "To my readers, you blow me away every day. Your love, support, your excitement. I'm so lucky to have one last of you. Every last one of you. Thank you for trusting me and following me to Rose Hill. I hope you love it here as much as I do. I said it before and I'll say it again. Elsie readers, all the best readers. Best readers. Heavy reading, XO, Elsie Silver." So she has it signed here. And when you go to the first page where it says the title, it's signed there too. So, I don't know. This book was good. I just didn't connect to the characters as much as I thought I was going to. I enjoyed them, but they weren't the best. So, yeah. So, next. So, I read a trilogy before this one in 2022, I think. Or maybe even 2023. I think it was 2022. I don't know. It was between either 2022 or 2023. And I was like, okay, because every time I tried to pick this up, I don't know, like, I think I tried to pick this up towards the end of 2023 and didn't love it. So I said, okay, I'm just going to wait to give it a shot. And then I picked it up again in June and then July. And I was like, okay. So that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. So I ended up giving this 4. And it was pretty good, I would say. I don't know. It felt like it was good. So I ended up giving this 4. But, like, some parts were, like, 3.75 to a 4. So if I really had to be critical, it would probably been a 3.75, but I'm just sticking with 4 just to make it easy. But I was like, okay. So, yeah. Because I know this series is basically, so, yeah. This series was good, I will say. This book was good, but it wasn't my favorite out of the series. My favorite is the 3rd one, but, so, yeah. So the next book, physical book I read in July, I actually, like I said, I tried to pick this series up too, and I don't know what I was doing when I tried to read this in 2023. I don't know if I was in the right mood, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try again later, whatever. So, because I think what happened was, because usually for my birthday, when I turned 12 and I think 13, no, I don't know. I went to the bookstore with my dad and my stepmom, and I originally bought the first 2 in this series. I was like, okay, so I was like, okay, well, of course, my best friend sees this book and she's interested in buying it, so she asked me if she can read it. So for her birthday present, that's what I basically got her. Was she wanted the book, and then I bought her break from school, whatever. So I waited for. I tried to read it like before she got it, but ended up didn't having time. I don't know what I was trying to do. So I was like, okay. So, and clearly to this day I haven't got it back. But she's moved, and it was is that now at her old house, and so I know I'm probably not gonna get that book back. Which I told her she can keep it. So I had the first one. So I was like, okay. So I asked for Christmas 2 years. So not December of 2024, but December of 2023. I asked for Christmas. I asked for the first and the 3rd one, and of course I ended up giving a box set, which that sounds like me wanting the 2nd one. So I was like, okay. So I ended up getting, so that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is book 1 in the Inheritance Games series. I'm not starting this, so excited, and it was actually pretty good, I would say. I'm gonna get some of the adaptations. Okay, so yeah, I think I ended up giving this 4 or 4.25. This is actually really good. Really good. So, I recommend this series. The series is very fast paced. If you like riddles, if you like suspense, everything like that, please read this series. I feel like. So, yeah. So the next book, okay, so this is one of my most anticipated reads of 2024. So originally I tried to read her first book, either beginning of 2023, I think it was, and I was like, okay, so this is before I had like an in-depth rating system, so like I would say did not have a good rating system at all, because I would give 5 stars out like candy, and then I would barely give any book lower than a 3. So I think the only book I gave 3 stars was the book, and then was the one by Kara Cash, which is book 3 in the selection series, and then the book that. So the next book I read in July was Funny Story by Emily Henry. I love this book so much. I think this is definitely a 4.75 for me. I really do this one. Like when I first, like I said, I originally gave the first book, not the first book. I originally gave Beach Read 3, and then I reread it, and then I think I rated it higher or something. And I reread it in July of this year, of 2024, and actually it was really good. Like, I think I gave it like 4.25. I think this is definitely a 4 point, yeah, so. Sorry guys, I'm just looking at the. And then I read Happy Place in 2023. I guess I didn't. Yes, I did. There it is. I guess I did it. I don't know. I read Happy Place in July of 2022, which I think, no, 2023, which I think I ended up giving that like 4 point. I don't know, it was good, but it wasn't the best. So, the next book, okay. So, I think I've read this book 3 times now, and I think every time I read it, it gets a lower rating for me. I think it started out as a 4 on Goodreads. So I listened to the audiobook of it for, I don't know, and then, so I was like, okay. And then I think I got the physical copy of it for Christmas of Christmas 2023. And I was like, okay. And then I think I read it. So I was like, okay. And then I read it, and then I think I read it, so the second time I think I read it, rated it 3. And then I rated it 2.5. Like the next time. So that is Aqua Love by Colleen Hoover. I just don't know what's going on with her and me. I don't know. My mom, I used to read so much of her. And my mom, I love her to death, but that's what she got me for Christmas in 2023 was Colleen Hoover. She got me this one, and she got me November 9th. And I was like, okay. So, yeah. I don't know what was going on when I read this book the third time. Don't know. That's all the books I read in July. So, yeah. So now we're in September. No, August. So the first book I read in August, physical book I read in August, was the sequel to Phoenix Games, which is Soul from Legacy. I think I was just not in the right mood to read this because I'm reading this and not, because this is how I feel about this book, and then I always say, for some reason, Right Move by Liz Salford, because I ended up giving this, I think, 4. I don't know if I was just quite in the mood for it when I read this. I just don't know. This book was good. It just wasn't the best for me. It didn't top the first book. the first book. So I was like, okay. But I still enjoyed it. I think I still enjoyed it. I gave it 4 I gave it 4 stars. So it was still great. Just wasn't my favorite out of them, I would say. But yeah, so. And the next book is the second book to a trilogy, like I've already talked about, which is the Bella Never After. Everyone and their mom, everyone I saw on Book Talk loved this book. Gave it 5 stars because of the ending. And I ended up giving it 4.25 just because it wasn't my favorite, wasn't the greatest. And I was like, okay, whatever. But the first one didn't make up for it, I will tell you that. So, yeah. I don't know. The ending did get me, but not. So, yeah. And then, so she got the next one I'm about to show you. Next one, she got pretty popular. I watched Haley Pham love this author a lot. And I was like, okay, I trust her. So I was like, whatever. And so Haley Pham, I trust Haley Pham and everything. But I feel like everyone was reading this book a lot because I don't know. It's kind of the most interesting to me, I would say. I don't know. But that is Summer Romance by Ella Mongan. This is about Allie who basically one day, who's a festival organizer. Her own life is a mess. Her mom died 2 years ago and her husband left, and she has it. One parents on a zipper longer than she can remember. No one is more surprised than Ellie's first time. She takes off her wedding ring and pulls on pants with hardware. Overalls count, right? She meets, or rather her dog claims a man for her by peeing on him. Ethan smiles at Allie like her parents are just right, like he looks at her like she's younger, braver version of herself. And the last thing nearly single mom Allie needs is to make her life messier. But with no harm in Little Summer Romance, is there? So, yeah. I know her other 2 are pretty popular too. So I was just looking at the tab. I don't know. This was really good. I feel like I went in with too much expectations or something where I wasn't disappointed. I just didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. So I ended up giving this 4.25, which is still good. It's still good. I will say that. It's still good. This wasn't my favorite. So, yeah. So the last book I read in August, which I've already talked about the past 2 books in this trilogy, which is Cruise of True Love by Stephanie Garber. This is actually my favorite one out of the series. I don't know. I feel like this one actually kind of got me. Not got me, but like the ending. which is so. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this one. This was my favorite out of the whole one. So, yeah, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know if she'll. I'm assuming she's done with this whole world, and she's gonna come up with something else. I really hope so. I will probably read everything Stephanie Garber writes. So, yeah. So, the first one, I actually DNF'd this book, but on Goodreads it says I read it. I don't know what I was doing. I feel like you can tell my reading taste has changed and evolved. Because when I first got into reading, this author, I would read her like all the time. Which I started out with her most popular, most emotional books, which I think that's why I enjoyed her so much then. But now I'm just like, what was I doing when I decided? Because I got this one for Christmas too, so I was like, okay, this one has to be somewhat good. Like, this one has to be. Because I think this is like one of the only ones I haven't read, because I know the movie It Ends With Us came out, but I think it might be on Netflix. I might watch it eventually. I don't know. It's like, this is why I don't like watching movies that was based or that was like that's why I always say I will always if I ever hear any popular book that's becoming a movie or a show, I always read the book first, because usually every movie that's from a book or that was a book that's now it's never as good as the book was. Like, I feel like, yes, you can't fit every piece of content into a book, but you can definitely. They miss, like, I know someone told me, I don't even know, like, it was good. I don't know. So that is November 9th by Colin Hoover. I just don't know how I felt about this. This book was okay. Like, I think what happened was this book was just like too much, as like it felt like this book was like just basically The Ugly Love, just in another format, just another book. I don't know. I don't know if I was just. I don't know what I was thinking when I read. Because I knew I wanted to read these, and I knew I needed to read it since I was like, okay, I'm just gonna trust myself and actually, like, try to get through it. Which, it was okay. Like, for the however many pages I read, which I didn't read many. I only read, like, less than 50. Which is only about, like, 300 and... But not even 3... Yes, it is. Like, it's like 305. Which is not bad. I would say, I don't know, this is just didn't blow me away as much as I thought it was going to. So, yeah. So, the next book is actually a third book in a series, which is the last book in the series. Which actually, I feel like I've just been loving the last book of every series. Because I feel like everyone didn't enjoy, like, didn't love the last book in the Clues to True Love series either. Like, I feel like this was everyone's, like, least favorite. I feel like everyone loved Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then they loved, The Bell Never After was a cloud pleaser, everyone. I don't know, I feel like I always describe myself as I always love what everyone doesn't usually love, and I usually don't like the stuff that everyone loves. This is what it feels like. That's what I would say how I describe myself. Just because. Don't know. So, yeah. So the next book I read was The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is this is book 3 in the Huge Game series. This is actually my well, I don't know. I've gone back and forth to see which one's my favorite or not. Like, is it this one? Is it the first one? Is it the second? Because I know the second one's definitely not my favorite, but I'm just like, what am I like? What is like? I don't know. This book, I feel like the ending, it made me happy, but like it's not what I expected. I've actually was gonna do something else with it. I don't know. I don't know what was I expecting about this book. I don't even know. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. 3 more stacks. Golly. I know this video's gonna take a while. But I'm just like, I don't even know what time I started. I think I started like 11 something. I'm at an hour and 35. Which my longest ever video was like 2 hours and like 37 minutes. So I know it's not definitely gonna hit that, but I know it's gonna be, I'm assuming a little bit less than 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. So like I said, so this was good. I don't know. Oh my god. So like, what I would do is, because I used to use Myliners, like I kind of like had my stepmoms buy me them because I don't know why I felt like everyone had them. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give them a shot. Well, I got them, of course, and I said, okay. So like I bought them, had them, whatever, and then like some colors, I know I've had them for a long time, but some of them don't work anymore. And it was like, so like I sometimes use the actual, I have color pens now, but like how I would too, sometimes I would use my highlighters from school and highlight stuff, but I still kind of do that anyway. So here's me using the blue one. Here's the orange. Because, I don't know, I was trying not, I guess I wasn't trying to underline. Well, I'm kind of glad I did underline because if you look at some books for me, because, I'm like, golly. Gotta use a whole new colors, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know. This book was really good, I would say. So the next book, so that would be so this is the last physical book I read in August. So I've already talked about the first one in the series. This one came out in May, I think. And I remember seeing the cover and being like, okay, so I got my stepmom to buy it for me okay, right after it came out, and I think I get it came out in May, I think. So it was like, I would say, so it wasn't too long, but it was, because I bought it, because it came out early May, I think it came like on May 11th or something close to that. And I was just like, okay, well, I was like, okay, so, and then I'm the story of this book, and I think I read this for a video, and I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's in it. But something with this book makes it so good. And that is The Dex and Wool by Elle Kennedy. This is book 2 in the Keepers Diary series. So this is about Dixon and Dana and Shane. And I just don't know what was going on when I read this book. I think I was just right in the quiet mood. Like, I loved this book for some reason. Like, this book is definitely in my top 2024. Sorry, I was reading the. I don't know why. I'm kind of glad I annotated that book because, it's, great. So I can actually see the parts I love. I don't know. It's either weird, but so I think I've done that. I think I've caught myself doing that multiple times, and I'm like, well, I guess so. Yeah. So I'm gonna actually move. Oh God. Nice. Well, I knew I did not want Stan to do this, so I was like, okay. And I had this vision of my thumbnail, which it's good, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's a thumbnail. So, oh God. So I'm just letting you know these books might be out of order because I don't know because I went to go pull them and they left over and I don't know. So they might not be in the same order as I read them. So please excuse that. But so yeah. So the first. So I feel like. I don't know. So I had this vision, and I was like, okay, I knew I was sitting around a room on my bed, and I just did not want to. don't know what I was thinking when I decided. Because, like I said, I was eventually going to do every book I read this year, which I read 111 books, maybe even 112. 111, 112, something like that. And I was like, okay. So, and I was actually, because I basically do every kind of basic YouTube thing on this. Like, that's basically where every sit down video. So, like, all my wrap up, all my books that I've read this month, I put in my notes app. And every single like question video or every tag I do, it's in my iPad. So I was putting every book, and then I think something's off because I was like, well, because I stopped. Let's actually see where I stopped. It's 152. Well, so when I stopped at the Hating Game, which was because I know I read around 17 to 18 books. So I was like, I don't know what I did when I was, so I was like, okay, well, we're at, still have like, it's okay, it's fine. So, yeah. So, the first book I read in September, no, this has to be October. So, I say, yeah, so this is October. So, the first book is actually, I read, like, I really just talked about her other series or other books, just because. So, that is The Naturals by Jonathan Barnes. This is book 1 in the Natural series. This is about a group of teenagers who basically have this like ability to like Cassie. She knows that she's a natural at reading people, and one day she gets into this special FBI school, I guess, where these group of 5 kids who, well, they're all a group of 17-year-olds, who have all of a magic ability that help the FBI cover cold cases, which I read the first one, but I guess I never logged. I don't know what I was doing if I never logged that I read the first one. I don't know what I was doing there. So, yeah. So I read both of these. I don't know when I read this one. I just don't know. So that's why they both are together. Just because I wanted to keep, since I did read this physically. It's like, okay, I have to include it. So yeah, this is actually good. I think I definitely enjoyed this series. I gave it 4.4. I gave it 4 stars. I think I gave every book around 4 to 4.25. I know on my iPad I put all 4 of them had 4.4. No, 4.24. They were all 4. So, yeah. Okay, so the next one I read in October. I actually, you guys are gonna be really, I don't know, I feel like some people I feel like everyone loves this series. Like, I basically read this because of Headley Fam. Because I got this box set from my aunt, I guess my cousin tried to read it and she didn't, I don't know. But, so I bought it and I tried to read it before I read it this time. And I guess I didn't like it because I feel like everyone that loved the first book and then tried to read the second one. No. Everyone that loved the first one was a 3-star for everyone, and then they read the second one made it better. Well, it wasn't good for me at all. But that book is Nicole Ranch by Holly Black. I just don't know how I feel about this one. I think I ended up putting 3.25 for these. This is one I was trying to highlight. My legs are getting sore. I don't want to stand up until after I'm done with this, because I know I'm not gonna want to have to not do this. I'm gonna have to like. Because I used a lot of green tabs. Well, I think tabs was like, it was green. Green was quotes, so that's why. So the next book I read, so I've already talked about the first book in the series. I read the first one in April. I think it's like one of the only books I read in April, which was not too bad. But I don't know what. I think I was going to try to read this physically, and then I don't know what. So the next book I read in October was Catching Fire. I'm going to say I was going to try to read this book physically, and then I opened the book, because I know it looks a little odd when I, like if you look at it like this, like, it looks a little weird. And then you open it, and just pages are just falling out. So I did not read this book physically. So I listened to it on audio. But I still wanted it to be included, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to include it. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. This is actually really good. I gave this book 4.2, I think. Yeah. It was actually really good. I think, yeah, I don't really remember what happened in these two books, but I don't know. It was still good, though. I think she's in college, so now I really want to read this so I can read the book Housebirds and whatever that book is that came out. I mean, I think there's a new one coming out in 2025, too. So I'm really excited to read that one, but I'm like, I have to read Mockingjay, which is the third one, which is on my TBR shelf, and then I need to read the one that came out earlier last year. So I don't even know when that was, but yeah. So the one I'm about to talk, I've already talked about basically the whole series. I read the whole series that. The second book in the series was the first book I read in 2020 of this year, and then I've read basically. So that is Taming 7 by College. This is one of my most anticipated reads, 2024. So this came out, I think, in like May. I don't even know when this came out. And I was like, okay. Because I was really excited for Clan Gipsy. Really excited. But I think I watched like one person read this book. Because I think I watched Destiny or Larry read this book, and they loved this book. And I read it, and I was like, I ended up giving this book 4.25. And it was okay. Like, I don't know. I will say, I feel like this couple, I feel like if this book is, because I did find out that because every book from now on is each couple's getting only one book. Which I feel like Johnny and Shannon did deserve 2 books. And then Joey and Alfie deserve 2 books too. But I feel like if we got, because this book is about let's see. Like 445. So it's shorter than basically all of them. I think Saving Six is, where is Saving Six? I think Saving Six is like 400 and something. And because I guess I decided to read Keeping Binding Keeping 13 right before they came out in the balloon cover. So I have the old cover of Keeping and Binding Keeping 13, and then I have Saving 6, and then I have Taming 7 in the new covers. And then I read Redeeming 6 on audiobooks, so that's why I don't have a physical copy of it. But yeah. So the next physical book I read in 2024, I've already heard about the first one, and I was actually really excited. I remember when she announced the cover of this, and I love, if I could give out like the prettiest cover, this board would get it. And I remember when she announced the Crooks, and I was like, oh my gosh. So the next book I read was Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This is book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series, and this is about Raphael and Ellie. Raphael has Raphael is Raphael's son's nanny. Let's see. Did I put his name in here? Nico, which is Raphael's son. Nico has some medical issues going on, and I think Raphael feels bad for him, and they go on a trip in Hawaii in this book, which I was actually really excited for, and I was like, wow. But I will say, I feel like, because I gave this book 4.5, I feel like every book she's written has gotten longer and longer, because I think the final, the fine print was like 450, I think, Totally Editions, which is my favorite out of the whole universe, the 5-star for me no matter what. I think I gave that, no, I think it's like 400 and like, I don't even know what that is. And then like you get the final offer that's over 500 pages, and then you read, where's Love read on. I don't even know where I put it. But I was like, that's like, I think, over 500 pages. And then this is like over 600. Let me see. Love Unwritten is 607 pages. So this is still good for how long it was. It was just not, okay. So, yeah. So the next book I read, I remember I started following this author on TikTok, I would say right after I think this book came out, and I was like, okay, and it feel like it has gotten like popular sometimes, like it's popular sometimes, popular it's not. And so when I went to Barnes & Noble for the first time, they had this one, and they had the second one, which I read the second one in November. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it a shot. Well, I think I've picked this book up twice. But, the first time, I think I listened to the audio, and I couldn't get through it. And then I read it physically, and I gave it 2.5. So that is White Lark by Alec Astor. This is book 1 in the White Lark saga. I will tell you, the second one did make it better. And then I bought the third one's actually on my TBR for January, which I think this video will be out before that one. So go watch my TBR video when it comes out on the 10th. I think it's when it comes out. So, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know what was going on with me when I read this one. This is like the only book I actually tried to color match the cover. But if you look at Lightlock and you look at the tabs from this one, and then you look at Night Pain, I used the same tabs. Because I was using different tabs from different color palettes and stuff, so this is why to match it. And I don't know what I was doing. So I'm just gonna do Night Bane. So I give this 2.5, and then I started this one. So like the beginning, it was really good. Like it was good, blah blah blah, and then it got good around the page, like 50, 100 mark, and then it got slow some parts, and the ending made it better. Like it was so good. It was like definitely 4. So I gave it 4, like I said. So hopefully I can read. So I counted those two as one book, but yeah. So now I'm just nervous because I have to like clean these up again and put them back on my shelves. Great. Which it's not too bad, I would say, but I'm already like 208. Wow. So next book I read, the last physical book I read in October. I've already talked about this first one. I think this is my least favorite out of the series. I had high hopes for this one because I feel like everyone didn't love the first book. So I was like, okay, so I went in with high hopes. But I think this might be my least favorite out of the series. So that is The Wee King by Holly Black. I just don't know what was going on in this book. I don't even know. Like, it was like okay, I would say. I just didn't enjoy it at all. At all. Like I said, I have really like no thoughts on this anyway. So yeah. So the last book, I guess I don't know. Like I said, so the last book is the third book in a series I've already talked about. I don't know. This one was actually pretty good. I think I liked this one, or I had the fourth one better. So that is All In by Chamberlain Barnes. This is, like I said, book 3 in the Natural series. I don't know if I enjoyed this one better. Better than this one, but I feel like I color matched the tabs so well. I don't know why I'm so interested. So yeah. So now we can go into November. But I'm going to say one book that I read physically, but it was a school library book, and I had to return it. I turned it a couple weeks ago. That was Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. And that's book 1 in the Twilight saga. I have that 2.5 stars. I don't know. I think what happened was I started out reading it pretty well. Like I was reading it like every day. So and then I kind of just stopped reading it around like the page like 200 mark or something. And then like I binged the rest of. I don't even know. Like I read some of it. I think it's just how I stopped reading it. Like I don't know, like halfway through. Because this book was like I think over 500 pages. And I was just like, what is happening? Like, why is it this way? Like, why? So, yeah, I didn't read that. But the first book, okay, so the next one I'm about to show you. So I talked about the first one earlier in the series. I read that in February. So it took me a long time. which the second one of the series didn't come out until July of this year, and then the third one doesn't come out until April of next year. So I was like, okay. Everyone loved the first one. Everyone gave pretty much everyone gave it 5, basically, almost. I was like, okay, this has to be good. So I gave it the first book, which I've already talked about, which is Powerless by Lauren Lark. Give that 4.75. And then I remember, because I bought it pretty much right after it came out. Like, I bought it like a couple days after it came out, or like a week after it came out. And by then, everyone have read it pretty much. And everyone was giving it like less, like everyone, like this was like basically middle of book, like this book was giving middle book syndrome. Like, she wrote the first book, amazing, grab clutch or whatever, and then to make the third book amazing like it's going to be, I'm assuming, she kind of just had to write it, I don't know. So that is Reckless by Lauren Roberts, which I will say, I enjoyed this as much, but I did give this 4.5. I actually read this in my 24-hour readathon for November. Yeah, in November. So if you want to watch me, if you want to watch me read this book, please go watch that video. Which I actually like. I would say it started off really good, and like it got like a little slow, and the ending made it worth it. Like the ending was so good. Like, if I had to give an award for the best ending, it was had to be either Nightbank or this book. I just don't know why. It's just it was good, really good. But yeah, hopefully I can So, yeah. Hopefully I can. So, next book. Okay. So, TikTok influenced me on this one because I don't know why it kind of like got like popular. I don't know why it kind of got popular, because I feel like everyone was saying that this was the fall book. Because if you look at the cover, you think, oh my gosh, it's the fall book of the season. Like, this is basically the fall book of the season. And this book was compared to Gilmore Girls. Literally, the author's name has Gilmore in it. So that is Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lily Gilmore. I read this in my 24-hour readathon too, so if you want to go watch me read this, go watch that. And I got influenced by TikTok, and I think the only person I saw read this in Book Talk was Destiny Sidwell. And I was like, okay, so, because I asked for it for my birthday, which I said, if I get it for my birthday, I'll read it, which I ended up getting it for my birthday. It's like, okay. Because I know it's a whole, whole series. Like, I think it's this one, and then the Cinnabon bookstore, and then it's the Christmas Tree Farm, and then I think there's one more, and then there's a new one coming out, like, in 2020, like, September of 2025, I think. I don't know. So, yeah, I just don't know. I think I went in with high expectations, and then I guess I went the page wrong, because I thought this book was like 315 pages, and it was actually 355. So I don't know what I was doing when I decided. So yeah, I think I ended up giving it this like 3.5, which was still good. So yeah. So the next book, okay. So I read the first book in 2022, which I ended up giving that like 5 stars, which that was like, I had to be 2023. So I remember reading that in 7th grade. So, you know, because that was like pretty popular then. That was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. And then it took me a while because I did not like the tropes in the second book, which is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. And I ended up reading it on audio. I listened to Wildfire audio, and I ended up giving like 3 stars. And I don't even know why did I read that. I don't even know when I read that. I was like, okay. And then I thought I was gonna love the third book, which is Daydream by Hannah Grace. And I was like, okay, I'm watching and listening to the synopsis of this book, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna love this. But I ended up giving it 4.25. This does not. I feel like everyone. This was because this is about Hadley and Henry. She has to tutor him because he's kind of like struggling and stuff. So like, I thought this was like gonna be good. Like, it's my favorite color. It was like, this sounded like my favorite book. And she's even wearing the. You can't see it that well, but she's wearing the Taylor Swift cardigan, like the cardigan. And I was just like, I don't know. This book wasn't good, but like not my favorite. I think either this one or Icebreaker might be my favorite. I don't know. Wildfire's just my least favorite. I don't know that much, but I'm just like, So, yeah. So the last book I read in November. I've already talked about the past 2. I love this book. I think this might be my favorite out of the series. I don't know. So that is Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is book third and final book in the probably the Ale trilogy or the Crow Prince trilogy, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I've heard it been called so many things. I'm just like, what's the point? So yeah, like I said, I think it might be my favorite out of all of them. I don't know. It was good. It was okay. I gave it 3.5. Wasn't the best. So yeah. So we are on the official last stack of books, which is December's. Which December was a pretty good reading month for me. But 2 days I thought I finished in like November, but I guess one of them I finished in December 2nd, and then I guess I finished this one. So the first one I read in December, I don't know why it took me so long to read this book. I don't know why, because Haley Pham loves this book. Like, this is like a 6 star. This is her favorite book of 2023. And I was like, okay, this has to be like good. So it took me a while, and I got it. I went to the bookstore with my best friend, and for my birthday, I bought 2. I'm about to show you both of them, and I was like, okay, this has to be good, and it took me. So that is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I do have the second one on my to be read list because I bought it because that came out in October. So, yeah. I don't know. This book, I thought I was going to love this book because this book is like basically young adult not childhood, like this is fake dating. I thought I was going to love this, which I ended up giving it 4.25. I mean, it seems like a little bit cringy because if I was I'm a high schooler, I thought I was going to like love it, but like I really didn't. Like it was like okay, like it was good, but like it wasn't my favorite. It didn't seem my expectation like I thought I was going to, but I'm still excited to read. Still excited to read the first one. Not the first one, the second one. So yeah. So I'm actually gonna count 2 of these because I read them like at different times, but they're in the same book. And I thought I finished this in November or something, but I've already talked about this series already. So that is Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is book 4 in the Natural series, and then there is a novella, like a 136 page novella called 12 in here too. So I read that at a different time from me finishing Bad Blood is 373 pages, and then 12 is about 156. I did do the math when I was doing this for my wrap up. I actually believe this one. I feel like this one had the most. I feel like we got not more answers, but like it kind of had the interest. It was, I don't know, it was actually had the topic I was most interested about that we've known about since the first book. And I was like, okay, this has to be good. But so, yeah. Okay, so I've already talked about one of her other books I read in January, and then I read her other book in this series, other books that she wrote that was pretty popular, which is Suspense Love Deception by Elena Armas. And I was like, okay, this has to, because I listened to that on audio, and that was a 3.75. So the next book I read in December was The Long Game by Elena Armas. This reminds me a lot of I think it's called, I don't know. I know it's by Sarah Henning, but there's a video that basically goes viral of her doing something. This is about Adeline. So she gets sent off to help this ragtag children's team. She needs to help, and then Cam, who's a recently retired professional goalkeeper. So yeah, she basically. So I remember picking this up, thinking, don't know what I was thinking when I decided to pick this book up, because I thought it was a single dad romance. No, it's not. But this sounded the most interesting out of the. I think she's written 3 of them, because they didn't have Spanish Love Deception on the shelf. So I was like, okay. And I don't know. I've gone back and forth between 4.4 to 3 stars. So. So yeah, So the next book I read in December, the next book I read physically this year. So this book kind of got I would say, I feel like this book has gotten pretty popular, I would say, in my eyes. And I was like, okay, this has to be. So I was like, because I feel like if I watched my favorite YouTuber, Madison, she gave the first one. So that book is Homeless Hunter by Kristen Cuccinelli, if that's how you say it. And I remember watching her read this, and she ended up giving this 4.5, and then she got the art, the second one that comes out in February, and gave it 5. So I trust her. I'm so excited to read. I remember reading this, and I was like, because this is about a witch hunter, and I didn't even know there was a romance subplot to it. I thought this is just straight fantasy, but of course there's romance in there. So I read 2 novellas back to back. So the first one I've already talked about, her other series that I read this year. This is a novella that goes with the other series, so that is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. This is a quick Christmas novella that takes place in the same world as Caraval. I actually really enjoyed this one. I think I give this 3.5. And then another Christmas novella I read, which I was so excited when she announced this, because this just basically makes me feel like I'm reading one of her books that's shorter. So that is by December Darling by Lauren Asher. This is about Catalina and Luke. Catalina is having her sister's wedding. Her sister is marrying her ex, and Luke is the best man. So, yeah. And then the last 2 books I read in 2024, and the last physical ones I read in 2024. I've already told you about the series. It did take me a minute to finish these, because I think I've read it 3 or 4 times already. So that is The Tandem Read by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 5 and 6 in the. So I ended up giving Empire of Storms 4 stars, and then Tower of Dawn 3.75. So yeah. So these are all of the books, all the physical books. These are 60, about almost. Yeah, I think this is about 60 books. Let's see. Yep, Tower of Dawn is 60. The 61st book I read. Wow. So, yeah. Don't really know what this video is going to be. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me talk about these books. So, and I will catch you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.